The Olympics was supposed to take place between July and August of 2020, but it was postponed in March of last year due to the pandemic. The 2020 Olympics are finally underway in Tokyo and it is going on well. So this brings us to the most important question: how expensive is it to hold Olympics? And why is it so expensive? Welcome to IAS by Heart. In this video, we will give you a few important points a UPSC aspirant should know regarding the well-known, celebrated and most awaited Olympics. First and foremost, to understand why it is so expensive, we have to understand the different costs involved. Any city which is conducting the Olympics has to build huge stadiums, impressive athletic villages for the Olympians coming from all around the world. It also has to build top-notch training facilities for them. And it also has to provide world-class infrastructure. The city has to build new roads, new subways, and also it has to divert the traffic. And then the stadium needs doping testing facilities. And apart from that, the city has to bear the environmental cleanup costs, the maintenance costs, and other game hosting costs. So not only they have to provide these, but all of these has to match the standards set by the International Olympics Committee. Basically, the country borrows a lot of amount to conduct the Olympics, and at the end of the day, the country is left with debt and colossal maintenance costs. Severe cost overruns have become the norm for Olympic host cities, and it is estimated the 2020 postponement alone cost Japan $2.8 billion, two-thirds of which was paid with public funding. In more recent years, the 2016 Olympics in Rio cost $20 billion, which had an initial estimate of just $2.8 billion. Similarly, the 2012 Games in London had a bill of just under $15 billion, which is 76% over the budget. The official costs published last year by the government of Japan for this Olympics was $12.6 billion. However, Japan's National Audit Board estimates the overall cost could be at least $25 billion, which is 100% more than the initial estimate. So all of this is nothing but the public money, that is the money paid by the taxpayers of Japan, except for $5.6 billion which is given by the International Olympics Committee. The International Olympics Committee does not have to absorb the cost of budget overruns. So anything going over and above the budget falls on the local organizers and the local governments. A recent study by the University of Oxford shows that every Olympics since 1960 has run over and above its budget by an average of 172%. The study states that the costs are driven by tight deadlines and having a new city organize the Olympics each and every time. It is important to note that this year the costs are going to be even higher due to testing, treating and bioproofing the area premises where the Olympics is conducted. Also, this event was originally expected to be a huge tourist draw, but banning foreign spectators ended the hopes of an early recovery via inbound tourism, which is frozen since last year in Japan. If the Olympic Games could trigger the spread of infection and necessitates another emergency declaration, then the economic loss would be much greater. This could very well turn into a super spreader event, God forbid. It is because of these reasons several cities withdrew their 2022 Winter Olympic bids, citing the potential costs. And in 2020, the International Olympic Committee faced another challenge, that is how to host the game as the COVID-19 pandemic crippled the economies worldwide. So many cities have learned the harsh economic lessons from hosting the games down through the years. Some have taken past mistakes on board, and Hamburg is a notable example, where the city's 2015 hosting bid was rejected by its inhabitants on cost grounds in a referendum. We also know that the Greeks' financial crisis was instigated by hosting the Olympics in Athens. Therefore, we can say that apart from prestige, hosting the games does very little for the betterment of the city or that country. It is also important to note that India has never hosted Olympics in history. After knowing all this, do you think India should host the next Olympics? Share your thoughts in the comment box below. Thank you.